I was working on this wheel horse garden tractor, trying to finish up the project, but the recoil starter went bad. There was a bad spot in the rope, so it wouldn't retract anymore. This is part 3 of a multi-part series. In the last video, I finished getting one good working starter out of the best parts of the 2 starters I had. But there's a problem with this part that I've been calling the cup. There's a weak spot that allows this arm to bend the cup when it's being used. The metal's all cracked up there where it's been bent out of shape and straightened twice. The reason this tab is bent inward is to form a stop, and it hits on the casting right here. That feature's not in the other cup I have, but I don't know if it's the new version after they decided it needed a stop, or if it's the old version and they removed it after they figured out the part would crack if they put a stop there. Either way, this is the one I have now, and I'm going to try to use it. I made sure this is where I want it, so that's where it's going to get welded. I'm going to grind some metal away on the right side where it's completely broken, and I'll weld that part first. Then I'll grind away the left side where the smaller cracks are and weld that part last. There's the first half gone. I'll fill that with weld. Bummer, that volcano top there means there's a gas bubble inside. Gotta grind that away and see how bad it is. This is probably zinc plated. That produces toxic gases when you weld it, so make sure you have good ventilation. There's a hole in there, but I think there's enough good weld to hold the pieces together. I'm going to cut away the second half. I'm going to try to fill that groove with weld. There's one of them volcano bubbles again. I'll grind that away and see what's under that one. There was a big bubble in there. I'm going to open up the mouth of it because I want to try to get weld down to the bottom. I'm going to say that's good enough. There's some tiny bubble holes in there. The backside looks good. The weld is all the way through the material. I'm thinking the reason this cracked is because they took away some support when they stamped that stop in there. The crack went straight from this corner to that corner. I'm going to add some metal across that gap so that corner will have more support. I have some scrap metal here. It's about the same thickness. I'll scribe a little rectangle and cut a piece to go in there. Now we want to hold this flat, but it won't hold in the vise like that. I'll use this block to hold it. I want this corner. I think I can use that. It's a little bit long still. I'm going to shorten it until it fits. That fits in there. I'm going to add a little chamfer on each end where I'm going to weld it. I think that'll work. Now we want to file a chamfer on each side for the weld to go in. That's not filing very well. This piece has been hardened. I can put a little chamfer on there. That looks good there. I sandblasted this piece, trying to take off the plating. Maybe that'll make the welding go better. Now I'm thinking about how to hold it in there. Maybe I can clamp it on one end and it'll stay in there. That don't work because each part's not quite the same thickness. If I have to hold it by hand, I'll hang the pliers over on one end to hold it in location. Then I'll weld the other end. That looks okay. Yep, the weld's penetrated all the way through. I think that'll work. I'm gonna sandblast it. That looks good on the inside. The outside looks just okay. I didn't have any of those big bubbles. I think those were caused by the plating, but I still got the tiny bubbles in the weld. I think that'll work. Now I'm going to put this back together. I'll make sure there's grease under this washer, and I'm going to put grease on all the parts where they rub on something else. I dropped the little spring, and I don't see it anywhere. I hope it fell down inside there. Yep, there it is. Make sure the spring can return the cup when you move it. That looks good there. When I pull the rope, the fingers should come out, and when I release the rope, the fingers should go back in. And that should work no matter how far the rope's pulled out. That all looks good. Now I'm going to put the original handle back on. Remember, when this retracts too far, the rope binds up against this casting, so I want the handle to stop the pulley before the notch in the pulley gets to the protrusion in the outer casting. The knot should be about there. I'm going to loop the rope twice. Not sure why. And I'll pull it as tight as I can get it. It fits better one way than the other, and I put it in the wrong way. I'm going to take it out and rotate it. I'll leave a little tail on there, short enough to fold back in next to the knot. It's a nylon rope, so I like to melt the end. And squash it a little bit. That keeps the end from fraying. And that's it. Make sure the pulley knots don't get to the outer casting there. and you should be able to dance your fingers around anywhere you want to. That starter's ready to go back on and be used again. You never know what's going to need to be fixed. You just can't give up till everything works like it's supposed to. Alright, that's it.